Now that we're talking about animations, I want to make sure you understand, at least on a general sense, the animations panel. Or some call it the animations tab. I don't know. So let's get to it.
Alright, now let me tell you about the animation pane. Here's how it works. Look, let's say you have a bunch of icons or a bunch of words and stuff, and you want them to come at a very specific order. And for some reason, you added your animations, which I'm going to explain in a second, but they're all out of order, okay? Let me go here. I already added the animation, so you're going to be able to see how it goes. Let me play it out for you. So it shows the text. Now it's showing the apple. Then it shows the person, the cash, and it shows the highlight from bottom up. Now, let's say we actually want the highlight first, then we want the guy, then we want the cash, and then we want the apple, okay? Let's say that's the story we want to tell, okay? So, here's how we go about it. This is what you're going to do. You see animations over here? You're going to come on animation pane, okay? Now, don't worry, it looks weird, but it's easier than it may look. This over here is just how long each animation lasts, okay? They all have the same duration. And here, it's just to show that the animation plays on a click, okay? So you can see there, on click. All right? So let's see which one this is. This is the apple, and we want the apple to come last. So let's move it all the way down. All right, so now it's the last one. Now this one is the man. We want the man to come after the highlights. So highlights are number 3, and you see how they're combined over here? They come together. So I held shift, select both, let's move it up. So now they're the first thing coming. Now the man is the second, then the cash, just like we wanted, and now the apple. Okay, let's give it a shot and let's play it out. Text, now guy, cash, and then apple. Now this is playing all at the same time, and we don't want that. We want them to play after previous. So here's how it works. So this one must play after this one, but we don't want to keep hitting the next arrow, so the key, okay? Here's what you do. Let's go to this one, right click, and you go start after previous. So what's gonna happen is the highlight behind this is gonna play, and then right after, without us having to do anything, the other one is gonna play. Let me show you. You see? I just tapped once, so there you go again. There you go, it plays all at once. Then the man comes in, cash, and apple. Now, another thing I want to show you is, what if you want to start with the previous? So let's say we want to say that John is gonna, as soon as he gives the money, he's gonna get the apple, okay? So we want them to show at the same time. So you go start with previous. Now the mouse here is gone, and when we play it out again, so simple text, John, now they're gonna show both at once. Look, this is how it works. And this is the animation pane for you. This actually makes a huge difference when you're telling a story, because that's where you can actually give the visuals at the same time that you're speaking them. You don't have to necessarily keep pressing next every time you want to go through something. You could combine things just like we did here on 24 and picture 26. And this is what we did with the cash and the apple. So we combined them so they come together, so we don't have to keep pressing, and we can focus on telling the story because we know that the visuals are going to appear. All right, let's keep moving.
Now, remember I mentioned I like to use icons? That is when they come in. When you animate icons, it's much cooler than animating words. Words are just words, but when you're putting images, what is it? A picture says more than 1,000 words? Yeah, so right now I'm gonna show you some of my favorite animations. I will tell you, I'm fairly conservative with it because of the whole being intentional. So every time you decide to animate stuff, make sure it makes sense, okay? Don't add extra fluff just for the sake of it. You wanna make sure it makes sense and it adds to the story without being distracting. That was a long sentence, but it's important.
All right, let's talk about animations. Let's get started. The first thing is, let's talk about drop-down text. So let's say you're presenting something, a topic, okay? And under this specific slide, you're gonna have 3 things to talk about. The first thing that you don't wanna do is to present them all at once like this. You wanna make sure you actually talk about part A or topic 1, then you talk about part 2, then you talk about part 3, okay? The way to do that is by using what we call drop-down text, which is basically you split those into different portions so you don't group them together, and you actually add an animation so they show up once you hit next. Here's an example. So let me get rid of that. Here's an example. Topic 1, and then you're talking about topic 1. Then you say topic 2. Then you say topic 3, and you explain them gradually, okay? People actually appreciate that, and it's a lot easier to follow when you're doing that. The way to accomplish this, I'm going to explain at the end, but it's basically just going to the animations portion of it, and then you can choose specific animations that you want. For those, I used fade in, okay? Now let's talk about icons. Let's say you got those 2 icons right there, okay? Here's what I'm going to do. Let's say we want this unsunk icon to disappear for whatever reason, okay? You have the option to do that, so there you go. It just simply plainly disappears. You can also make stuff appear, which is super quick. You can also make stuff fade out. Look at the apple. You see? Let me do it again. Or you can make stuff fade in, just like I did with the text. One more time. There you go. Now, again, I'm gonna show where all of those animations are in a second. If you do have a pen for your computer, like an actual pen that you can draw on the screen, you can actually use that to create your own quote-unquote icons. Look here on topic 1. I drew an arrow a few minutes ago that I'm gonna show you right now, and you can actually make it replay as if you were writing it at that specific moment. Look. You see? One more time. Now another one, look at topic 2. Okay, or if you have an icon, this is a wipe that I showed you before, but from right to left. One more time. You see? And you can, again, as always, play around with the duration of that. And you can also do the same thing with numbers. Look at this. You see? It's actually as if I was writing on the screen. Sometimes, especially for online presentations, this could save you because it's a lot more interactive. People actually feel like they are being immersed in your presentation. Now, let me show you how to do those things. All right, so just to show you, look, this is a disappear. So you're gonna come on animation, so click the icon, disappear, and then you can choose the duration. This one is automatic, but you could actually work it out. Here, this one is a fade out. Remember, the red ones are the outs. This one is appear, and I left it on auto. This one is a fade in, okay? And I believe I made it a little bit faster. Here, it's actually in the slide before, but I used the same thing. I used fade in for this one, and for this one. Okay, so you basically click on it, and then you come here, fade, you see, and then you add to the animation pane. And the final thing is for those, you see, you have the option to replay. Okay, and if you want to know how to draw it, you could do it actually your pen. Look, it's just not as nice if you're doing with a mouse, but if you're doing with a pen, it looks a lot nicer. Okay, but I will make sure to give to you a full slide with drawn, handwritten icons. So you're going to be able to download those and use them in your presentation in case you don't have a pen. So there you go. And then for this one, to finalize, it's a wipe coming from right. And then again, you can play around with the duration. Look, the animations are here. You can look at them, you can play around with them, see which ones you like, but don't ever forget, you want to make sure they don't get too distracting. They have to add to the story, not to take away from it, okay? It's not just because it's cute or it looks nice that it has to be done. It has to make sense, all right? That's it then. Let's keep going.